have with that is that since we are doubly unemployed, federal and state tax are for those that have
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
It's done unto you as you believe. It's done unto you as you believe.
I'm gonna get there, yes, somehow. It's my way through the crowd. I'm gonna grab you by the hand to a place we will stand. Stand proud, no fear. It's clear, I believe in you. I believe in me. Oh yeah, I believe that we can make this dream a reality. Yeah, yeah. Now's the time to be. Now's the time for miracles. Oh, it's in my heart so deep. 'Cause I believe.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Baltimore. Good morning, good morning, good morning on this rainy, chilly Monday. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People here on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Oh, God bless each and every one of you. I know the clouds are blocking the sun and God is crying because y'all, some of these folks ain't trying to see the light of day on this election and voting for people that don't mean them no good. I don't know what God is crying about. I know that when it gets through rain, everything going to be green. So it's going to be all right eventually. And we're thankful for another day that the Lord has kept us. Another 7 whole days, Leo, that he kept us to be back here on the air to talk and to share with our people.
Amen.
Please welcome my co-host and just a man that I have such high respect for, Mr. Leo Burrows Jr. Good morning, Leo. How are you?
Well, good morning, everybody, and praise the Lord and pass the ammunition for justice, decency, and fair play.
Well, I tell you what, you had a justice and fair play this past weekend. Had a sellout event for the Roots of Scouting.
At the Forum, yes.
At the Forum, and it was tasty, marvelous, and a great fellowship, huh?
You better bet it. I want to thank all of those who patronized our fundraiser and telling those few who didn't show and who promised to show, we're still going to take your money. We're 501c3, and it's tax deductible, made payable, Roots of Scouting Incorporated. But in the main, it was a successful fundraiser, and we need to sustain our efforts on behalf of our children, families, and community.
I would like to, at this time, thank the Roots of Scouting. As some of you know, I have an after-school program at Liberty Elementary School now for the past 4 years, and we needed a washer and dryer. And because so many of the kids come to school in their pajamas because their parents won't wash their clothes or they don't have clean clothes to wear. Wow. And you know they get ostracized by the other kids, and you know how cruel kids can be. So I went to, Leo invited me to the Roots of Scouting meeting, and I went, and he told me, he said, no, you got to come talk to my people. You got to come and ask them and tell them what you need. And I went to that meeting, and I explained to them what was going on, and in less than 15 minutes, they took up an offering.
Wow.
And bought that washer and dryer for our children. Okay, so Leo, you know, I'm forever indebted for the opportunity, but I'm thankful that you have an organization of people who understand that without our children, Frederick Douglass say that it is easier to mold and shape a child than it is to fix a broken man. So we're molding and shaping our children by helping them in the small ways. Might think that's a small way, but that's a big way, because when they come to school with their pajamas on, we got uniforms in there. We can give them a clean one on. Then they can bring their little uniforms and we can wash them, and they can take them home and have clean clothes for the next day.
Amen. Amen.
That's so important, and y'all know it is. So I want to thank the Roots of Scouting and congratulate you on your efforts. Whatever y'all are doing, I'm with the program. I support you 100%.
Well, we thank you for your continuing ministry to the young people. And, of course, I just want to give a shout-out to Sister Wiggins. We had many contributors. Sister Wiggins, every fundraiser, increases her donation to Roots of Scouting. And I will just simply say she sent a sizable contribution this time. She's unable to attend, an older lady, but listening to the radio, very supportive of young people, and she does everything she can to uplift us. So again, Sister Wiggins and everyone else in Radio Land, thank you, thank you. It means a lot. We can sustain ourselves and sustain our budget and continue to work on behalf of our young people.
Yes, we can. Thanks to all of you who contributed and attended. Also, we have a new co-host, and I'm so excited about having him here with us on a regular basis. A brilliant man with years and years of experience of activism, advocacy, and great results. Please welcome, they put Doc in the middle, but I'm going to put Dr. Marvin Cheatham here as our one of our new co-anchors. Welcome, Doc. How are you today?
I woke up, so it's a great day in the neighborhood. I thought you were introducing somebody that wasn't in the room.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, no, man. I've been watching you for years.
But I got this message to everybody. It's a message for tomorrow. There are no permanent friends. There are no permanent enemies. There are only permanent interests. Tomorrow, vote your interests, regardless of party, regardless of race, regardless of sex. Vote what is in your best interest.
Yes, sir, in your best interest, and what is in your best brain. Mom, I had this African lady say to me, says, you know, common sense, unfortunately, is not common to all. Okay?
Ouch.
If you're a taxpayer, and everybody's a taxpayer, some of us are homeowners, pay homeowner taxes, some of us just pay taxes on cigarettes, whatever it is, everybody within the sound of my voice pays taxes in this city, state, and nation. The people who hold elective office are managing your money.
That's right.
We're paying the salaries of the city council and the state senators and the members of the House of Delegates and the President of the United States. Everybody who's holding political office is getting paid. They're not volunteers.
That's right.
They're there to serve our interests. They are public servants. We've got to hold them accountable and understand that if there are a lot of reasons why we should vote, but not the least of which in a capitalistic system is this whole matter of money and who takes what money and does what with it. And sometimes they do dumb stuff with our money, and we should not permit that to happen.
Absolutely, we should not. And I tell you what, I put it on my Facebook page the other day when I first came here. I've heard so many politicians say about us, them N-words don't vote. Them N-words don't vote. So when there's a shooting in the white community, you don't see the mayor. You see the mayor there with them because she knows they're going to go out and vote. But when kids get shot every day, every week, when was the last time we saw the mayor up front and on page with our community?
You mean the walking tours with the police and all that kind of stuff?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about the instant something happens in the white community. She seems
on Federal Hill or in Roland Park or whatever.
Yes, well, I'm down there on the harbor.
Yeah, I'm not going to give the mayor a pass at all. The mayor needs to. She likes walking. She's athletic. She jogs. She has a history of that. So jog right on down, not just to Bolton Hill, but Penn and North. Jog wherever you got to jog. Hold everybody accountable, including the sheriff, who's apparently in orbit, and hold the police and all the legislators accountable. We want our fair share in terms of how monies are spent and how we create job training and apprenticeship programs that focus on abandoned housing and creating jobs, which is preeminent, ought to be preeminent in terms of looking toward the future. There are a lot of people standing on corners. All of them are not on drugs. They want jobs, and we have to make it happen for them, and not belaboring the squeegee boys, so-called, but we have to, the fraternities, the sororities, the churches, everybody, NAACP, Baltimore Urban League, stay on the battlefield in being facilitators of involvement with youth and mentoring youth, which means they are approachable, most of them. Yes. So approach them and try to bring them along in a positive way.
You know, Leo, I agree with you 100. No, I don't. I agree with you 99%. See, to me, the problem is that those young people, most of them cannot read.
You got that right.
So you can't get a job if you can't read, because that means you can't even read the application. See, for the last 4 years, I've been trying to get the mayor before, Miss Santelisa's, since she's been there,
right,
to put this reading program, Reading Partners, into our schools. Because, you know, after the 3rd grade, they no longer teach children how to read. No, they stop after the 3rd grade. They don't teach them, because then they go on into other studies. They have to be able to read by the end of 3rd grade.
Well, why is that? Why did they stop teaching them? They've even taken cursive out of cursive writing. People telling me, what is this, Doc? It's a modern day, and they have computers now, so they can make an X mark, and we can go back 50 years into oblivion, and they don't have to, you know, you want to have a positive identity.
Right.
You don't just print your name, if you can do that. You got to know how to write your name. And I maintain that phonics and cursive writing, those things that we've done, grammar, and penmanship, all those things that we've done in the past are still relevant today. And we've allowed the school board to remove these things from the curriculum. And we should not allow that. We've taken civics out of the curriculum,
which is just dastardly.
They don't understand, and
they do understand it, but you must remember that we're still working on the industrial ideal of people. They're not training people up to become leaders. They're training people to become workers.
Slaves.
That's exactly what they're
slave labor camp.
And we allow it because we won't realize that if our children can't read, then that's going to put them in a position that they will never be able to thrive unless they start their own businesses. Doc, go ahead.
Can I tie something into this? I'm very happy to say, not this Monday, not today, but next Monday, Matthew Henson, we normally have Matthew Henson Elementary School, that is, in conjunction with the Neighborhood Association, at least 3 times a year we do a reading project. This Monday coming up will be Veterans Day. Officially, Veterans Day is on Sunday this year, but on Monday we extended an invitation to everyone listening, including those in this room, that on Monday we will have veterans and individuals so inclined to do such, we will have them reading to our students on Monday. And if you're interested, please feel to give me a call, 410-669-VOTE, 410-669-8683. This upcoming Monday from 9 a.m. till around 1 o'clock. You can come to Matthew Henson Elementary School, but you gotta have me approve your coming in to read. But we actually, in honor of Veterans Day, trying to encourage our young people to not only stay in school, but if they need an option to stay out of trouble, and that might be the military, we want to begin a connection between our youth and our children and the military, so that they have an option rather than going on the corner selling drugs. If the option is to go to the military, I'm not a military person, but I know it is an option that we need to have in front of our children, because that may be the only way out of being on the corner. So this Monday, give me a call if you're listening. If you know folks that are veterans, we're asking everyone to come read to our children, but special emphasis this upcoming Monday for our veterans.
What is the age group that you want to read to?
Well, they're going to be reading to elementary, which will be pre-K, kindergarten, up to 5th grade.
Up to 5th grade.
And it'll be at Matthew Henson Elementary School, 1600 Payson Street at the corner of Baker. But you have to have our prior approval because we don't jeopardize or put our children at any risk. We need to know who you are, what your background is, and we do a quick check to find out whether or not you have the right to read to our children.
May I finish my thought in that I was talking about readingpartners.org. It costs $20,000 a year for that program. The mayor is proposing $2 million to help the squeegee boys. What can she do to help them that you all feel like would be the greatest thing that she could give them? I contend that it would be teaching them to read, putting reading partners in there. $2 million is a lot of money. You can reach these kids, get them in a place, and teach them where there is no shame for it. Hey, I can't read. I want to learn how to read, and to get them to understand that. And if that would change their lives, if they could read in such ways that they would be able to function.
I agree with you, Pat and Patrick, and also the entrepreneurial skills that I think are being talked about are very important. If reading is essential, if I'm going to run my own business or create a business, I'm my own boss. And so if you're laying the groundwork for these young people to know how to market their skills or how to contact the public with their public relations skills
or organization,
their organizational skills, their manners. This becomes very, very important that yes, they absolutely have to read, but they have to, given the fact that they want to make money, and we understand they want to make money, and most of them want to make money legitimately, then we can fuse the reading that you're speaking of with the entrepreneurial aspect of teaching. And I don't pretend that she or anybody else has all the answers, but the concept is good.
I have a suggestion. This would probably be the 5th radio show that I've shared this publicly with an audience. There is a program presently that Matthew Henderson Elementary School and myself is actively involved with. Matter of fact, this past Saturday was the 8th week in a 10-week program. And that program is called Be More Beautiful. Be More Beautiful is a program that's being run by the city. There's an outstanding young lady that's heading it up. Her name is Natasha Neal. And this is what this program does. The program provides money. 2, it keeps our young kids, both boys and girls, out of the street. And 3, it provides a service to the community by them. What the program does, and as I said, we're in our 8th week. This past Saturday was our 8th week. We have 2 more weeks. We actually pay the children $10 an hour. They work 5 hours a week. An hour and a half has to be in their specific block where they live, and then 3.5 hours every week. I have the young guys. I don't have any girls this year. Hopefully next year I'll have girls. But we have 4 guys, and they get paid $10 an hour. They get paid cash immediately after they finish working. Now, like this past week, we basically went up and down all of Westwood Avenue, and we went all up and down Pressbury Street. We actually cleaned the streets. A couple of weeks ago, we did the high school. So we basically used a project to basically keep Baltimore beautiful, and the kids actually get paid $50 every week, cash money. They don't get to the limit where it's a tax issue. But this is a program, at least one program, that we've been dealing with for 8 weeks in a row. That is a viable program. It does get, I have 4 young guys. They would be on the street now if we didn't have this program. So that is one program. Be More Beautiful. If you haven't heard about it, if you want to come, you come see us next Saturday, because we work from 9 to 12:30 every Saturday.
And that's Matthew Henson.
Matthew Henson Elementary School is one of many. There may be about 30 community groups that are doing this around the city. I'm very, very prejudiced. I always list my community organization first.
Well, we understand it. I think it's very worthwhile. Very, very worthwhile.
Not only worthwhile.
And necessary.
Necessary. That is the word I was getting ready to see. But the one thing I want us to remember is that those kids just don't want to work or make money. A lot of them don't have any food to eat. A lot of them go home, there is no food to eat. You all would be shocked at the number of kids at my school who say, "Can I take something home, Mr. Henderson, for my mommy?"
Wow.
That's the last meal they're going to get all day long.
What's scary is knowing that, and our neighborhood is very similar to where you are, Patrick, and that is, were it not for breakfast and lunch programs, our kids don't have any other opportunity to eat.
That's right.
During the weekends, I'm fearful as to what our kids are doing. You know, and I see a large increase, because I basically clean my particular park that I built and the community built. I clean it up every day. And on weekends, what I don't see chicken boxes. I don't see Chinese food boxes. I see potato chips and soda. And that means that's what they're eating on the weekend, because many of them just don't have the finances.
That's all they're going to eat.
So we've got budding diabetes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not knowing high blood pressure, not knowing what to eat. Sometimes having parents, sometimes no parents. And I hear people talk about what the parents ought to do, and maybe so, but if you don't have parents, then we have to be the surrogate parents, or we have to be the mentors. We've got to be involved in their lives.
And here's what compounds the problem. Is I know during weekends, as I said, I see potato chips and soda, discards all over, where I clean up. But what I know is happening as well, because we have no food market in our neighborhood, it means they don't even have an option to get something healthy to eat. There is no option other than being at school Monday through Friday, breakfast and lunch. When they come home in the evenings or weekends, we have no food market. There is nothing really healthy for them to eat.
What do you say about the people who go in a 7-Eleven store, and every time I see it, I'd have to turn my head and cry? One woman with 3 or 4 kids in 7-Eleven, the most expensive convenience store in the world, buying bags of chips and sodas, and it's in the morning, and that's those children's breakfast.
That's their breakfast. That's right.
You're absolutely right. But see, I'm noticing, I don't care what you say about Michelle Obama. If it wouldn't have been for her stepping up and saying, we got to cut this crap, we got to cut this junk food, and we got to feed these kids. I'm watching the kids in my school, and they're eating carrots and broccoli and just eating good food, learning. See, one thing, Doc, is that people don't know. Because when I was a student at Coppin, I used to sit there every day and watch those students come out that cafeteria. Oh, you know what they had on their plates? Pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers, and French fries. And they had one of the best chefs in the city that was cooking up in there. Man, that man was racking up some food. I would go and I couldn't wait to get to lunch to see what he was cooking every day. I said, well, why don't you give them samples? He said, they won't even try the samples, sir. He said, they won't even try to test something out. Every day, the same people eating pizza, hamburgers, and hot dogs, and French fries.
And that the exposure you give them, and we're right on the money. The exposure of what to eat and how to eat makes all the difference.
All the difference in the world.
The first fruits of the African harvest, the definition of Kwanzaa, speaks to, and we've gotten away from that. We've allowed people to commercialize Kwanzaa too much. Talks about fruits and vegetables. And Kwanzaa celebrations, which are very important to cleansing us for 7 days, getting ready for the new year, are very, in terms of cleansing our bodies, our minds and spirit, in terms of what we eat. Positive foods, not potato chips for a Kwanzaa celebration per se. You might have some sandwiches, but I'm saying fruit and nuts, the protein that flows therefrom is critically important to a nutritional base that gets us moving in the right direction.
Yes. David, I know you were hanging on. I was trying to get this conversation going, and I was just getting ready to come to you, and you hung up. Could you call back? I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. Is this Richard Terry?
Of course it is. My apologies for being late, gentlemen, but better late than never.
10 push-ups.
Could you lock him up?
He can do those push-ups. Don't worry. He's a tough dude.
Good morning, gentlemen. If I could chime in here for a second.
I'm sorry, Jason. I forgot to say hello.
Good morning, family. I just want to remind everyone first that we are now streaming live on many social media sites, so you get to see these fine gentlemen, and I'm truly proud to be in the room with such aged gentlemen. I hate to say aged gentlemen, but
hey, watch it.
The word is seasoned. Seasoned.
I'm sorry.
That's ageist. What you just said. Who you think you talking to?
You're old. You're a young goat yourself.
Hey, I got some grays on my face, but again, just the amount of wealth and knowledge and wisdom in this room is truly a blessing this morning. And you get to see them live and in living color, except for Richard. Richard, we got to figure out a way to patch you in.
One of these days, I'll be there. So I've always said I have a face for radio anyway.
We need to see if we could bring you in on Skype somehow so we can display you on social media. But just letting everyone know that you can see all these fine gentlemen on Facebook, Periscope, as well as YouTube. But I had an argument one time when one of our former mayors, Stephanie Rowland Blake, came on a radio program, and I had suggested to her at the time that because the community seems to not know, like a lot of this is generational. A lot of this has been passed on, a lot of these bad behaviors, whether it's our diets, whether it's our children running amok. And I had suggested at one time that we really get back to the old traditional ways of the social workers coming through, evaluating and assessing the health of the communities, and in some way being able to provide instant wraparound services so that we could get a hold of some of these issues within the community. And unfortunately, at the time, Stephanie Rowland Blake told me that it wasn't financially, they didn't have the financial means to be able to provide a social worker for every community. But I figured we have, about 14 policing districts? Is that correct, Doc?
Nine.
Mm-hmm. So if we, maybe have 1 or 2 in each district, and we work in conjunction with law enforcement to identify some of these neighborhoods, and again, to provide some of these evaluations and to provide some of these wraparound services, I think we could start nipping some of this stuff like illiteracy, dietary needs and things of that nature, and in some cases create programs like, for instance, a breakfast program if there is none. If we see that children are going to school without, making sure that there is an outlet within the schools. And I know some of the schools, like for instance Liberty, Patrick, has a breakfast program
and lunch and dinner.
Yeah, and dinner, and in some cases you support the adults as well coming in the evening time. So, but we have to utilize the institutions that we have, like for instance the schools, the recs, things of that nature, the community centers, to again provide these wraparound services and to provide the professionals to come in and evaluate some of these issues that are in our community to help us become stronger.
Jason, if I may.
Go ahead, Richard.
Jason, it's an excellent idea, because no one would know these children in many of these neighborhoods better than the teachers in these schools.
Mm-hmm.
And the social workers, there used to be like a social worker or a school nurse or whoever inside of these schools who knew all of these children, and as such could probably spot the problems long before they get going. Because we talk about, I came in late, but I think I caught the gist of everything. You begin to talk about nutrition.
That was one of the things.
And nutrition in our community is extremely, extremely important, because without nutritional values or without watching what we eat, our body will eventually betray us. And by the time we get a handle on it, in many instances, it's far too late.
Right.
I have seen, and I'm going to give you some numbers.
Come quickly, Richard.
That's going to shock you to death. I'm going to say on an average given day, 3 times a day, there are somewhere in the neighborhood of close to 3,000 individuals on a dialysis machine in the city of Baltimore.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a huge number.
Yeah, and you see
that number, and they're getting younger and younger.
Yes,
and the school system at one time had a sufficient number, or almost sufficient number, of counselors, which they don't seem to have today. You might have 1 counselor per school or something, but I always went through a public school system, Baltimore City, in which there were counselors at the elementary, the middle, the junior high school, the high school. And again, a lot of things we've done away with, we've done ourselves a disservice.
But Leo, may I say, and may I suggest, and y'all notice, and this is leading us into we're getting ready to talk about the election.
How about that?
I'm wondering if, I know for a fact that Ben Jallis realizes the undercutting of education. At first, I wished we would talk more about health care, because that pre-existing condition thing is a major thing, especially for people that are on dialysis and things like that. Y'all saw that woman the other day. You might have seen her. She was a white woman who just decided to give up because they cut the funding for her program to go and get dialysis. She didn't have the money to get there transportation-wise.
That's right.
And they cut the funding. She just said, well, just let me die. Just let me go. For dialysis? Are you kidding me? This is what we're talking about. So you're talking about this governor who is not for Medicare for all. Very simple. It saves a ton of money, brings costs down. It does incredible things for people. It proves and it says to you, if you get sick, you will not be made bankrupt and not able to afford to live anymore. That's all that we're talking about. But then the education thing that's why I like Ben Jallis, is because he realizes, man, that the children are our present and they are our future. And the way we treat our children will determine who we will be as a people as they live and they grow into maturity. If we don't value them and they're not taught to value themselves, well, who's going to look out for them? Station ID, listen, you're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Please don't touch that dial.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
We're back. Welcome. Thank you so much. This election, I was kind of shocked. I don't know why I was shocked. Some people I just really understand who they are and why they do what they do, and many of them have a lot of influence here in the city because they are native Baltimoreans, and they yield power in convincing people for whom they should vote and why they should vote. And I was reading this by Will Hanna today. He says, I'm praying that after Election Day that this city and this state can come together regardless of who wins or loses. When I read that, I kind of took pause because Mr. Hanna is not he's for Hogan, and I replied to him and I said, if Ben Jealous is not elected governor, we will fulfill what Tupac Shakur said about Baltimore. He says, I got to get out of here. Baltimore is the only place I've ever been where people don't know and don't want to know. We know that Larry Hogan is a Republican. Now, that's right, I call them thugs on repeat. A Koch brothers component, not only by his words, but by his vetoes. He's against a $15 minimum wage. He's against health care for all. He is against sick pay leave. He is against HBCUs. He voted down, vetoed paid sick days for workers. He vetoed increasing renewable energy in Maryland. He vetoed restoring voting rights for residents leaving prisons. He vetoed a bill to stop police from taking your money when you haven't committed a crime. Now, y'all know what that means here in Baltimore. No crime. They never charge you with anything, but he vetoed a bill that would have stopped them from doing it. He said Mike Pence and Chris Christie are probably two guys he's closest to. He vetoed giving parents and teachers a role in education. He called the removal of additional Confederate flags political correctness going amok. Now, who would say, what a Democrat would say that amok? No, man, they should have been torn. They should have been torn down a long time ago. He vetoed the bill to decriminalize marijuana, and then he joined Trump in calling for Maryland to reject the refugees. He didn't feel he was educated enough to make a comment about Kavanaugh. My God, where has he been living? With his head in the sand. Everybody knows about Kavanaugh. And if we elect all Democrats, he will be held accountable. That's right. He can be impeached while sitting on the Supreme Court bench because he lied.
The governor
numerous times.
The governor was doing what is politically expedient for him to do.
Well, then
and that political expediency says that he doesn't comment. He's going to be neutral.
Yeah, well,
and you can't we can't allow our political representatives to be neutral when it speaks to our interests. You know, do the right thing come hell or high water. And what I'm seeing is, you know, you say the governor is not in favor of $15 an hour wage. You're right. He should be. Catherine Pugh, she's not in favor of $15 an hour wage.
She lied and told us she was.
Yeah, well, I'm saying we've got, again, a lot of unholy alliances. You've got Peter. You've got Brian Frosh, the snake, I call him the snake, who's the attorney general, who's in league with the devil, the governor, Larry Hogan, on the issue of HBCUs. They keep bouncing the ball to each other, but we know the facts. The facts are what? That they have joined hands with others, whether they be calling themselves white liberals, in quotes, or in white sheets. They are not interested in what needs that our needs.
Right.
They're not going to meet our agenda.
Right.
And we have to throw those bums out of office, and we've got to hold them accountable. And it means that we have to have legislators who are activists enough to say it call a spade, and not be afraid. And, you know, we got a lot of folks who are spineless. So, again, that's the exciting part of this election, getting people in place. We're going to see what they're going to do in January. You've got 90 days of the General Assembly coming up. Are they going to wait till sign or die, the end of the session, before they put forth the agenda of the black community? We can't allow that. The first 2 weeks of this session, it's got to be clear that the Legislative Black Caucus has got to be on the firing line demanding accountability on the issues that we deem necessary, or they block vote and stop the action at the General Assembly and say, hell no. The business of the state of Maryland will not go forward until our issues on education, law reform, job creation are addressed.
Healthcare.
Do we have the guts? Do you have those kind of leaders?
Even Leo, before even the 2 weeks start, it would begin with the selection of the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate.
You're quite right. Mike Miller's been there forever.
And if
he's a king.
Put a monkey wrench into all of that or slow it down, that'll send a message right then and there.
Mike Miller's president of the state senate. Mike Bush is Speaker of the House of Delegates, and Mike Bush is seriously ill, and he wants to die in office. So he's got a new liver, a new heart, and he's going to stay. He's not going to mentor anybody.
Exactly. Check this out. So Will Hannah responded to me, Patrick, isn't this the same fear-mongering that people say the National Republicans do? No, it's not. Not at all. These are facts, sir. This is not fear-mongering. The Republicans fester in lies. The president has lied over 6,000 times to the people. And he said the other day he tries to tell the truth, but it is not in him, as it is not in the Republican Party. They will do anything to hold on to power. You go on to say, am I such a horrible person because I didn't support the $15 minimum wage? You say I'm a business owner, and I know what it would do to other businesses. There were other provisions that needed to be added before implementing the wage. Sir, if everybody is making $15 an hour, I say your business is going to flourish.
Well, Patrick, now in Seattle, there's been problems in major companies in Seattle, who was the first city to implement that $15 per hour wage.
But haven't they worked them out?
I don't know. I
haven't paid
too much attention.
I haven't paid attention.
There were problems.
Of course, there are going to be problems because there are smaller companies. There should be some sort of escalation, but it's having to wait to 2023, 2028, which is what the legislation is to get to $15. A lot of us won't even be here then, and we need them the funds now.
That should be on the legislative body, shouldn't it?
Well, it should be, but then if we had a governor who was for it, I think it would get on there a lot quicker, especially if he had support for it from the people, and the people every time are for it.
And Patrick,
does the Black Caucus support it? The Legislative Black Caucus, do they support it?
Does the mayor support it?
Patrick, Seattle has a different economy, though. Again, they're really built on a high tech and coding and industry up there, so IT. They have IT and technology. They really have the economy to support that type of infrastructure. For Baltimore City, we built an infrastructure around hospitality, and I don't think that we really have the infrastructure to support that. Now, if we were concentrating more on STEM and we brought Google in for Google Fiber, and we were really starting to push some of those industries here, I would say that maybe we could support it in the future. But because we're so laborious and, hospitality built driven,
But we don't even have that. People are not coming here. Restaurants are closing. The only people that are thriving seem to be the people that live down at the harbor. But at the same time, within the next 5 years, if we get the right governor in office, jealous, and there's a speed train that is put in that goes from Baltimore to New York in less than an hour.
That would work.
Baltimore is going to become a bedroom community because of the houses, because of the land, because of the charm of this city. We can only see what is in front of us, and that is the sad part about us, is that we don't see the vision. Maybe it's because we don't know, and I'm not going to accuse anybody or put you down for not knowing. But then when you say things like, my business is going to suffer, and you're not aware of what the possibilities are and what the game plan is from the white people that are planning on making this city a regentrified as they have done in Washington, D.C. Oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming because there's no more land. There's no more land. The cities that are thriving already, and white folks don't want to live in the country no more, y'all. They don't. They want to come back now and take our cities. You know why? Because we got restaurants, we got hospitals, everything is convenient. They get a heart attack out there and some of them boondockies, they could die by the time they get to the hospital. So they're all trying to get, there is a shift that's coming back, and we are here. And if we don't set up a plan and get with the people that see that vision and understand the long range, not just the what's in the front of our faces, we will suffer. Leo,
can we break ground legislatively in this state by enacting legislation that ensures that every athlete playing for universities and colleges in the state of Maryland, irrespective of whether the HBCUs or not, compensate these athletes? The athletes bring in thousands and millions of dollars to the University of Maryland, notwithstanding Jordan McNair and everything, and they're not compensated in any way of any substance. That's the kind of thing.
NCAA's rules do not allow it.
Well, change the rules.
Well, they should have been changed. They should have been changed a long time ago. This is typical.
Because a lot of these colleges are nothing more than semi-pro teams anyway.
That's all the other people. Had a coach over $1 million. Are you kidding?
Jordan McNair was killed on the University of Maryland plantation. That's why he was killed. Yeah. Gross negligence on the part of DJ Durkin.
Yes, Smitty, how are you today? You have a question or comment, sir?
Fine. Y'all have a great show. Patrick, one of the things I want to bring to your attention is that we have a lot of our senior citizens are suffering. Mm-hmm. In these senior buildings, what happens is they go in on fixed income, and when we look, the rents are being raised on them. Mm-hmm. Or even if one of the seniors that go in as husband and wife, one of them die, then that senior has got to be inconvenient and being evicted because of lack of income. Wow. We've got to do something with the Department of Housing. We're asking that our group comes together, which is the Maryland Residential Coalition. We come together on November the 8th at 1:30 down at the Legal Aid Building. We need all the support we can get to come down and be a part of us in the meeting if you can, so that we can sort of like protect our senior citizens. We have a silence where nothing is being done.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Well, you know what? America is the only place that puts its old people away. It's the only place that just says once you're old, you're not good for anything. Sometimes we do it to our own family members. Over in Japan, they have companies that rent grandparents because they value the seniors. So they rent them and bring them home to their families to talk to their children and be amongst their children. But we don't do that. There are a few reasons why we don't do it. One is, I believe, that one of the big things is that sometimes when we get older, we get stuck in our ways and we forget diplomacy, especially if it's our children. We do as I say do, not as I do. And so that creates this chasm where young people don't like to talk to the old people because they're going, oh, y'all young people are saying we put them down, not realizing we need to create a relationship with our children where they will make sure that we're taken care of as we get older. So that's part of the problem. Smitty, I agree with you. It is said, I was looking at an ad the other day for Johnny Cochran's firm where this man came over there and they had abused his father in a nursing home, and they were paying for it. So I know what you're talking about is alive and not well.
And Smitty is a new member of the Maryland Residents Council Coalition, and he's on fire. I'm the chairperson of the Maryland Residents Council Coalition meeting at Legal Aid. I've been chairperson for the last 2 years.
Okay.
And we're meeting this Thursday, the 8th.
Where's the Legal Aid?
At 501.
At the corner Gay, right by the
500 East Lexington Street, Lexington and Gay.
All right, y'all. We need to be there for that because, boy, I tell you.
You want to give out your number,
Smitty?
Yes, I can be reached at 443-839-5414. Again, 443-839-5414. And we appreciate all the support that we could get. And if you have some time, I know it's a hectic schedule for you, Mr. Henderson, because you're doing a lot in the community. But at this point here, we got to protect our senior citizens.
Yes,
we got to do whatever we can do. The Department of Housing has a lot of money, but this money is not flowing back where it needs to be flowed at for taking care of our seniors.
All right, Smitty. Thank you. We're with you 100% on that. All right. Bless you, my friend.
Now, let me toss this in. Patrick, you were echoing what I said a long time ago. If you look at a lot of these cities up and down the East Coast, the regentrification has already begun.
Yes, sir.
In Philadelphia, New York, they're now concentrating on rebuilding the inner cores of these cities, and then they're moving outwards.
Chicago.
Chicago, L.A. is the same way, too.
Patrick just came from Detroit recently, and Detroit was a chain city.
Couldn't believe it. Same, man, looks like a whole different place.
And the way that I'm understanding this train system is going to be set up, it's going to be set up north, south, and the East Coast first. Then they're going to the West Coast and run the same thing from, say, Oregon all the way down to San Diego. And then they're going to try to run across country. That's where Chicago comes in, the northern route.
And this would have been done already had not it been for Republicans. Remember, had not it been for Republicans, there would already be a train going from New York to Florida. New York to Florida, and this guy that's running for senator, and who's now was the former governor, stopped that. And down in Florida, I can't think of the guy's name, the one that was sued by Medicare for paid billions of dollars because
is he in litigation now?
No, he's not. He's running for senator. He can't run for governor no more. Now he's running for senator.
I know who you're talking about.
Rick something, whatever his name is. But he stopped it there. What's the big guy who was governor of New Jersey? Christie. He stopped it. You know, they wanted to do a new thing with the tunnels going from New York City to New Jersey, and he stopped that. So it's always Republicans in the way of progress. When was the last time that a governor here, a Republican governor, got 2 terms? Rick Scott is who I was thinking of. Thank you. When was the last time a governor got 2 terms here consecutively here in the state of Maryland?
Yeah, that's been at least close to maybe 40 years ago.
That was the last time a governor got a Republican governor got. Now that should tell you something. Why did that happen, gentlemen? You've been here 40 years. I've only been here 20. Why did that? Why weren't those governors reelected? Ehrlich was one. I know why Ehrlich wasn't, because he was against the $15 minimum wage. Because I talked to Michael Steele, his lieutenant governor, at a party.
Doc, was that McKeldin? Did Theodore R. McKeldin? He got 2 terms.
He got 2 terms. Wasn't he more of a blue Democrat than an actual Republican? I heard he was.
All I know is he had the title Republican. He was well liked.
Yes, because of his policy.
And he was a mayor of Baltimore City too. That's right. He was mayor of Baltimore City before he became governor.
And this is how many years ago?
40 or 50.
40 or 50 years ago.
So Theodore R. McKeldin. So why is it that we feel as though Hogan is entitled to another term?
Well, I don't feel that way. But you've got other people. Kiefer Mitchell is on the payroll of Governor Larry Hogan. Kiefer Mitchell, the last time I was with him 5 or 6 years ago, he was a Democrat. He's paid. He has helped to orchestrate and organize the Democrats for Hogan. He's a member of the Mitchell family as well, you know. And he was the nephew of Perrin Mitchell.
Oh, nephew, okay.
Yeah, am I right? He's the nephew of Perrin Mitchell. So again, we've had people who are bought and paid for. That's my opinion. Well, and I mean, they do what is politically expedient for themselves. And he's orchestrating the campaign, he and others, and that's why we have a whole list of clergy people, some of them, and they have a right to do it. I don't agree. If I were the clergyman, I would let my congregation, I would do what I want to do, but the congregation would vote the way they want to vote.
Patrick, the $100,000 question for me is whether or not the home of the Mason-Dixon state could elect an African American as its first governor when we have a history of not doing so. I mean, I realize that Brown had some baggage. He had the O'Malley factor, which I don't think benefited his campaign. But can Maryland break that omen that seems to cover this state, that we will not allow you know, a African American to be governor, although we're definitely qualified because we've been president of this country.
Well, it's not only governor, Jason, but not even United States senator.
In the case of Donna Edwards.
No, even before Donna.
Before Donna?
Edwards.
Yeah, well, they worked against Donna, and now we've got, in her place, we have who? Chris Van Hollen?
Van Hollen.
Right.
Because at first I heard she was the chosen one.
Well, yeah, but she was too independent for people, and she was
the state central committee.
She was certainly qualified. What'd you say, Richard?
She ran afoul of the state central committee.
Yeah, because they had some personality problems with her. We got to get past the personality and deal with qualification.
Yes, we do. We got brother Carlos. Carlos, welcome to Patrick Henderson. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Yes, sir. I wanted to talk about the politics in Maryland, which you have defined. The Republican agenda. You know, you have the buck dancers and so forth who are not only supporting Hogan, but also this guy Wolf. Now, according to the St. Mary's Times down here, Wolf came down here and he pretty much outlined a whole ton of things that black people seem to be supporting Frost for. He doesn't like the fact that Frost is suing the Trump administration. He defines Baltimore as the murder capital of the country. He says that Maryland should not have any bail reform. Keep them in law, lock them in jail, which affects a lot of our people. He says that he's supported by the FOP, which should tell you everything about him. But my central point is that he'll go up in Baltimore and he'll shake hands and hug our people up there and what have you, and tell them one thing, but he'll go down to Southern Maryland and the Eastern Shore, and he'll tell them what they need to tell them the whole thing. But there's no evidence that he would do anything different as far as the HBCUs or anything else other than what Frost is doing. The governor is the major.
Only one, yes, sir.
He stirs the drink, and Dwight Pettit will verify that. Frost might have a hand in that, but the governor is the
yeah, he did.
Frost has a major hand in it.
Yeah, he is. but he's no major. But he's a non-secretary when it comes to this, because the governor has. Now, wait a minute, hold up. I want to say one thing, because we had Mr. Pettit on last week. And I tell you what, I've never had a gut feeling in my feeling about a person as I do about this guy that's running for Attorney General that is a Republican. I don't trust them, you all. And you shouldn't trust them either for anything. Are they going to stick together? They will lie to us. He can say he's going to do the HBCUs, but a lot of y'all don't know that after the election, that Trump is going to fire Rosenstein, and he's going to fire Sessions, and he's going to put the guy in that is the Solicitor General right now, who is complicit because his law firm represents Trump. And he's going to put him in there. So then it's going to take attorney generals around the state to stand up and say no or go for it. And if we put two Republicans in there, if we put Hogan there and this guy in there, we can kiss our tushes goodbye.
White folks stick together.
I'm going to disagree with all of you on this issue. Okay. And would love your responses to what I'm about to share.
Okay.
4 years ago, Brian Frost was a candidate for the Attorney General's position. He was asked, and if we have the video,
yes, we have it set up.
We also have the audio.
Yes, sir.
Frost made 7 statements, very telling statements in this video. All of them which now have been proven to be lies. I'll give you 3 of them that are very, very strong. Quote, bring people together. He's talking about what he would do if he became Attorney General. He would bring people together. He has not done that as Attorney General. And we're talking about the HBCU issue in specific. All right. These are his quotes. And I've shared these quotes with him in a conversation in March. I sent him the video. I also sent him the statements that he made and said, do you contradict any of these statements that you made, that now you're doing just the opposite? He also said we need to find common ground between the plaintiffs and the defendants in this case. He's done nothing to bring them together. But here's one even more important. He says that this is a problem that this is not a problem that should be solved by litigation, quote unquote. So why does he appeal the case if he doesn't feel this case should be dealt with litigation? Jason? And I'm saying we have the video
that we're going to play,
and the audio.
Yes.
And if you hear these statements, there are 7 contradictory statements that Brian Foss made 4 years ago that he made. These are his statements.
Hold on, y'all. Here it comes. Listen up. Here in his Brian Foss in his own
Carlos,
words.
I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for the next Attorney General. Judge Blake ordered the parties to mediate. I mean, so she held, no, the HBCUs haven't been underfunded, but yes, the program duplication is improper and has harmed the HBCUs. And she ordered the parties to mediate. That is a great opportunity for the Attorney General. I mean, the Attorney General represents, well, I know that it's the alumni and faculty that are the nominal plaintiffs, but in fact it's the HBCUs that are on one side and the TW, the traditionally white institutions, on the other. The Attorney General represents them all. And it is an opportunity, I think, for the next Attorney General to bring people together, find common ground. This is not a case that should be, this is not a problem that should be solved by litigation. It's a problem that should be solved within the University of Maryland system and with its, with Morgan and the other semi-independent institutions or independent institutions. And it's not easy, but it is, I think, in everybody's interest to resolve this without having the judge issue an order and go up and find out what the Court of Appeals thinks about it, and then ultimately what the Supreme Court thinks about it. Because I'm not sure that the basis of Judge Blake's decision, which is the Fordyce decision, is going to be good law when you get up to the Roberts Supreme Court. So everybody has something to gain, everybody has something to lose in this mix. As Attorney General, I bring them together, try to find common ground. I think probably money has to be on the table, duplication has to be on the table, but I think it's possible. It's certainly, these are parties that are rationally in private. Pardon me for this digression, but I was representing a son a number of years ago who wanted to sue his father over his grandfather's estate, and the lawyer who was representing the father was my father's contemporary, and we were trying to settle the cases, and our parties, our clients wanted to fight, and he pulled me aside and he said, Brian, sometime you'll realize that when you're doing civil litigation, you're representing the lunatic fringe of society. And it's a true story. I think about every civil case that I have, there's some nutcase, somebody who won't give. The reason we're in court is because there's somebody who's acting irrationally. Here, we've got parties that have to act rationally. They represent the public. They represent the students and faculty, and they have to act rationally. This is a situation where it ought to be solved without resort to litigation or further litigation.
Did y'all hear that?
And that's how I did.
Can I make one final comment?
Yes.
The state loses.
Let's stop him. Okay.
Go. One final comment that was asked with one caveat. That is, if, as a lawyer for the state, if the governor orders him to do so, and by the way, it was Bob Ehrlich, along with Calvin Burnett, a Republican, who initiated that duplication process that put Morgan in the kibosh that it is today. I thank you for your time.
Did he say it was who? He said it was Ehrlich? Was Ehrlich post Omar O'Malley came after Ehrlich, am I correct?
That's correct.
And this case was filed during the O'Malley administration. I mean, folks, I want you to hear, you heard the Attorney General. This is a video, it is an audio The video was done by the Sun Paper. It wasn't no fly-by-night group. This is something we have that shows that 4 years ago he made 7 statements. Program duplication is improper. The question here, why is A.G. Frost then going against the HBCUs with an appeal? Candidate Frost said, has harmed the HBCUs. Is Attorney General Frost admitting his client, the Maryland Higher Education Commission, is guilty as Judge Blake found them? Judge Blake found University of Maryland system, MEAC, guilty. Candidate Frost said, bring people together. How do you bring people together when Frost has filed an appeal?
And even though, and if you listen to it carefully, Frost himself said if the Fordyce decision has to be reviewed by the Supreme Court, he doesn't think it'll survive.
So he knows that we're going to lose our HBCUs if it goes before the Supreme Court. And when he said that, was Bush? I mean, was Trump the president at the time?
No.
Brian Frost, in my opinion.
Hold your thought right there. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010. Don't touch that dial. Coming right back to you, Leo. Go ahead.
Brian Frost.
No, this commercial.
1010 WOLB with talk in the day and soul at night.
Ben Jealous has a clear mission. He wants to create better opportunities for families across Maryland.
The promise of our state has always been that this place would be place where it's a little easier for your children to achieve the American dream.
And for Ben, that starts by making our students and their schools the top priority again.
I have a plan to restore the promise of our state, to fully fund education. We'll make sure that all their kids can go to a good school and get a great education by finally fully funding our schools, stopping the $2 billion of underfunding, budgeting our schools first, make sure our teachers are respected and paid better.
That's why President Barack Obama says, Ben Jealous has the vision, experience, and courage to move families forward. Ben Jealous, Democrat for governor. He'll put our kids first. This message has been authorized and paid for by the Maryland Together We Rise PAC. Marvin Randolph, Treasurer. This message has not been authorized or approved by any candidate.
What's up? It's your boy DJ Duke.
DJ Keish.
DJ Knowledge. Catch us live, the DJ Booth Radio Show, each and every Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on WOLB 1010 AM radio. Live interviews, artist spotlight, trending topics, shop talk. What's up, Knowledge? What's up?
Go.
Keish.
Let's get it.
Hey, Keish. This week's special guest, Ashley T. Moore, 11 Hip Hop, in the building, live, tune in. Listen, also, I got Young Easy, Soul Raspy Records on. He got his new mixtape out called The Resurrection 2. We're going to talk about it. Also, my guy, White Boy Frazier, in the building to talk about his new mixtape called White Magic. So make sure y'all tune in, download that app, WOLB radio app. Download. Also streaming live from WOLBBaltimore.com, the DJ Booth Radio Show.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Welcome back to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. I want to go back to Doc. Go ahead, Leo.
Okay. I want to emphasize again, in my opinion, Brian Frost is a co-conspirator with Larry Hogan on the issue of HBCUs. Who hired the law firm to file the appeal and to prosecute this case before the Supreme Court? Who did the hiring? It was Brian Frost. The law firm's name is Zuckerman and Spader. Correct me if I'm in error, Doc. Zuckerman and Spader LLP is a white-only law firm out of Washington, D.C.
White only?
Yeah, white folks only. Hey, look, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars of our money being spent without our interest being represented.
Right.
Elijah Cummings is supporting Brian Frost. He has a right to do it. I'm opposed to that. I'm not dissuaded by that. The former state senator, Joan Carter Conway, she supports Brian Frost. You know, they have a right to do it. I'm opposed to that. Let's keep focused on the issue. Let's stay focused on the battlefield. We've got to fight.
Here's the issue. This is the most important quote.
Somebody's got their TV
4 years ago.
Somebody's got their television or the radio. Could you please turn it down? Richard, could you please turn that down?
Hold on, that's my computer. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Here's the quote. This is not a problem that should be solved by litigation. You heard it. If you want to see it, we'll let you see him making that statement. Then why in the heck did you appeal it? You didn't talk to the governor within 30 days after Catherine Blake made her order, issued the order in November. 30 days later, you filed an appeal, Brian. Who gave you authorization? You didn't talk to the governor or lieutenant governor.
They
not
said
within that 30-day period.
They said
they were on WLB.
Said you didn't.
Said there was no conversation. So under what authorization did you make the appeal? And you're saying that this case should not be solved in litigation.
And
why was the discussion between the two parties, the defendant and the plaintiffs, in this case? You never brought them together, Brian.
He had no intention of bringing them together.
All right, Brother Carlos, I know you've been holding on. You have any comments there, sir? Brother Carlos?
I think he hung up.
He hung up. Okay, let me kill him. I don't mean that.
Oh, no.
Could you drop? Could you
No,
drop?
we love
Brother?
Carlos.
Okay, we're going to go to Brother Gene. Brother Gene, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, pretty good. I want to just agree with everything you guys are saying. I mean, Doc, you shared this audio with me way back when, but when you brought up Joan Carter Conway, okay, so when Shashane Stevenson, the Wall of Shame, remember how this all got kicked off?
Yes.
Okay, well, the Wall of Shame, and then that's when Joan Carter Conway came out, and of course she talked about all the great monies that they got the SPCUs, which was good, but still the duplication of programs is the problem, the bottom line. But we could solve this probably simply by electing Ben Chavis to be the governor.
Ben Jealous,
I'm sorry.
Ben Jealous.
Ben Jealous as the governor, and then he tells the attorney general, stop the crap.
Exactly.
Period. That's the answer.
That's all it is.
Okay, now Oscar made a great observation, and Oscar said that when he went to the polls to vote, he and his wife were commiserating with the people in the line, and his observation was nobody in that line where he was knew what the heck the HBC situation was.
That's because the churches don't tell them. They don't talk about it. Their children don't go to school. Exactly. And this is the sad part about it. So all these jackleg preachers that are supporting Hogan, man, I tell you, they're a part of the problem.
And plus, this is the only station that even talks about the whole issue.
For the most part. So in a sense, it's really our problem in disseminating this information to the people, not the people who don't vote, but the people who vote and who can change the governor. And they just not aware where the problem. And the reason I called in was about the railroads, actually, because all these problems stem to be the same thing. My wife worked for the railroad. She retired. We do know that diesel engines run the railroad from the south to the Midwest to New York, right? And then they change over to electrical, right? The electric trains, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know this, right? Because I used to go to New York all the time, and there always was a changeover if you wanted to go above New York City.
Right. Your point?
Exactly, they change over to the diesel engine. So that's why, you know what I mean?
There's a resistance.
The railroad that they can't, that in other words, the money is so big that the Republicans control it, and they don't want to change it.
I know, because they've got stock in it from the day one.
Exactly. So but back to the HBC issue, you guys can scream to the rafters. We got to get Ben Jealous in there.
Yes, sir.
December the 11th is the trial, the hearing. The oral arguments will take place in Richmond, Virginia. That's December the 11th. That is the 4th Circuit. And once it finishes the 4th Circuit, it then goes to the Supreme Court. The one thing I will agree with Attorney General Frost with is that once it goes, if it unfortunately goes to the Supreme Court, we're in trouble. Yes. And when we say we're talking about the 101 HBCUs across the nation will then be in jeopardy as a result of Brian Frost not getting authorization or even having a discussion with the governor. He decided on behalf of the Maryland Higher Education Commission, of which we should ask that the chair step down, because they basically appealed this case. They lost the case. They lost the case. Judge Blake ruled on the case. And then Brian and the Maryland Higher Education Commission decides to appeal the case.
This is wrong.
December the 11th, this case is going into Richmond. We're hoping to bring students from all 4 schools down to Richmond on that day.
Who appoints the commissioners?
Who appoints the governor?
The governor appoints the commissioners to the Maryland Higher Education Commission. And how powerful is the University of Maryland in that regard? Are they on the board?
It's a total separate entity in and of itself.
They do not dominate
the Higher Education Commission. A lot of times, it sets up, say, overviews of what curriculums can be put in what schools. Because anytime you change a curriculum in a particular academic institution, it has to be cleared by MHEC.
Which is the
Maryland Higher Education Commission.
Maryland Higher Education Commission.
It has to be.
It has to be.
So go ahead. White folks get their heads together, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, or whether they're conservatives or liberals, or fake liberals.
Right.
So we're talking about. You're still talking about white nationalism.
You talking about? No, it ain't. It's white supremacy.
White
Let's
supremacy.
don't get it too twisted.
You don't think it's related?
Oh man, let me tell you, there's a difference between white supremacy and white nationalism.
You do?
Oh man, oh absolutely.
Tell me, Brian.
Oh, let me tell you, there's a big difference.
I think they're in bed together.
I know they are. They're one
in bed together. They're white
same
folks.
bird, two different wings.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. No, that
I hear
definitely.
it.
But I want you all to hear. Well, let's toss here what John has to say. John, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
No, it's a quick comment. I really support, the efforts that y'all are putting forth.
Yeah.
But the politics of it is very difficult. It's not a voting issue.
What is it?
I'm talking about for the voters do not put that, even black minority voters, it's not, anywhere near the top of their agenda. And there's no political price to pay. Brian Foss will be reelected tomorrow. So that's why that issue. I mean, it's like I said.
You say it's not an issue.
I'm going to have to disagree, and the reason I'm going to have to disagree.
Voting.
The vote and voting could make a difference. If Ben Jealous were to get elected, you're saying it would not make a difference?
No, people are not going to vote for.
No, I'm not saying.
Please, do you have a crystal ball, sir, that you want to come into the studio and we can all look at what you're looking at?
I follow politics pretty closely.
You're not the only one, sir.
I worked at the federal level for over 20 years.
Good for you.
I know what it takes to move issues.
How do we make it a political issue?
How? Tell us.
Because it's not perceived by the people.
Why isn't it?
People don't.
Do you perceive it?
No, why are you arguing with me? I'm just giving you my point.
We're listening. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's not a major voting issue for people when they go to the polls to vote.
And this is Dr. Cheatham. I agree with you.
Attended, it predominantly
this is
haven't gone to college at all.
Let's have a conversation. Let's not have you take over. This is Dr. Cheatham. I'm agreeing with you. This is not an issue for the voters, sadly enough, on Tuesday. But I will tell you that when you look at the thousands upon thousands of students that are going to Bowie, Coppin, Morgan, and UMES, it should be. But I agree with you. It is not, and that's one of the fallacies that we're not in tune with some of the issues that affect us. Did you hear me say clearly? 101 HBCUs around America may get impacted by this one lowly case in the state of Maryland.
Let's make it an issue.
I support your efforts. I encourage you to continue.
Tell me this, sir. Don't go anywhere yet. So, do you mind telling us how you're voting, or have you already voted?
I have already voted. I voted for Ben Jealous.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, but that wasn't at the top. But it wasn't necessarily because of his position. I personally believe that he would be better for people of color.
He would be what? Better?
He would be our issues will
resonate.
Just a master politician.
Yeah.
But it was Jealous, especially for Baltimore City.
Yes, sir. Well, I think he's for general. See, the one thing that we keep forgetting is that, unlike Obama, Jealous was raised by a white father and a black mother who had to leave town because it was against the law for them to be married. Whereas Barack Obama's grandmother was wealthy. She was a vice president of a bank. He lived another life. Well, a vice president of a bank, she wasn't poor.
No,
nowhere near it.
And gentlemen,
hold on for a minute. Go ahead. Let me listen to what you're saying about his grandmother.
His grandmother was not a wealthy woman. His grandfather basically was a freeloader. she made a decent income, but she was not a wealthy woman.
The vice president of a bank, sir, that has all sorts of implications for wealth. And whether you want to,
a major bank.
that's all right. He wasn't poor, and his mama didn't have to leave town to stay with her husband. Her dad's daddy ran off and left them. I'm saying that there's a difference in the way that they were raised.
You know what's disturbing to me, caller, and others who might be listening, is that we need to do the right thing come hell or high water. I understand the difference between political expediency and what should or should not be considered, or where the trends are going. It's like early voting. It's trending. It's a poll. You're taking polls, and where do you stand? Where do I stand? Every individual has to stand for what is right. As long as we're standing for what's right, then we need to mobilize.
I'm saying when you're having trouble paying your rent, or you're on the verge of eviction, and when you are living in poverty, which many of our people are, it's not something that's going to be at the top of.
I agree. I understand. But even the issues attendant to poverty are not being addressed by the most of the incumbents who are in office today. They've been in.
People don't vote.
They've been in office 15 and 20 years, and we've got to change the structure of politics in our state, including term limit nonsense.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to David. David, thank you for calling. Patrick Henderson, Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
Hey man, I got them both. How y'all doing?
All right.
Good afternoon.
I'm gonna say this, man. Now, I know y'all don't really need people to call in, man, because y'all did on point on a lot of things today, man. This is a good show you got going on today, man.
Thank you.
And I'm out there for being jealous, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm with the brother. And then, if I'm not mistaken, man, it was early because I did take a little quick nap, man, power nap. Did y'all talk about the squeegee boy thing, man?
Yeah, we did. We talked about that $2 million that she wants to put up, and we're saying they should put a reading program in there to help them kids learn how to read, which will change the life course for them.
And I suggested that we look at the Be More Beautiful program that's being run by Mr. Tasha Neal, which employs these young guys. And I only reason I'm saying this praise is because I've been dealing with it for 8 weeks in a row. 8 weeks in a row. I got young guys that are working with me, and at the end, every Saturday, I pay them cash, thanks to the city.
But you know something else, man? I like that Be More Beautiful program, but it's also, if we can implicate just a little bit with them parents and let us see some of their parents out there getting a little bit in too. And also, man, them kids out there, man, for a reason. I was listening to how deep y'all was getting into it, man. Y'all was getting pretty deep. Them kids is out there, man, to get what they can get, how they can get it. They can get rid of those. Here's my little thing I say: get rid of those bike lane things, man, and make a lane that's for the squeegee kids.
Interesting.
Man. Give them every corner that you see them kids in, give them a lane. And make it mark squeegee lane. If you find yourself in that lane, know that them kids gonna approach you. You got the right to tell them get away from your window, but know that you're in the lane where them kids gonna approach you. And there should be a little spot in there for a safety mark. Therefore,
like it is for buses.
If you're in that lane, you got to be held. You should be held up 1 to 2, 1 minute at least, to let them kids get out of the way of traffic before you proceed.
I agree with you, David. I like that idea.
However, what happened was they tried that, I think, some years ago to create a special area for the squeegee kids. Now, as far as the bike lanes are concerned, as long as you have that Bike More organization up there in that Roland Park area who's controlling several of the city councilmen, it ain't going to happen. They're going to try to do this all over the city if they can get away with it.
I received a call from one of our civil rights leaders for the state of Maryland, and I thought that his idea, coupled with mine and coupled with the recommendation for reading program. Another one was to do a relationship between the gas stations and have the gas station set up means by which we could possibly get some of these young guys and girls to go to the gas station. They could actually have the window washing actually at the station. So I think that, you know, the Patrick's idea about the reading The idea that I'm trying to bring forth, that we expand the Be More Beautiful and the program to actually look at the gas stations and see if we could employ them in the gas stations, so it would be a place that the cars would be basically stationary and they would be able to do that.
Now, Doc has hit a home run. You hit a home run when you say the gas stations, because there was a time when we got full service at a gas station. Now I go to a gas station and they're trying to sell me drug paraphernalia, knives.
They tried.
Knives.
They're successful.
They're selling dope. They're selling drugs. They're doing all kinds of things. But Doc, you're right. Right on. That's the thought I had. That if you get these kids at gas stations, there should be a partnership.
HBCUs. I don't think that this is just our community issue. I think this affects every community, our white brothers and sisters as well. The reason why I say that is because when I look at Morgan State having one of the best engineering departments in the country, and I see more mixed race children there. University of Maryland Eastern Shore has one of the best veterinarian programs in the state, and people actually come in all different mixed races, correct, to Eastern Shore. Maryland University Eastern Shore just to attend that veterinarian program. So this is not just if they close these institutions down, it's going to only affect our community. It's going to affect those that want to seek the best education, and that just happens to be in our HBCUs.
Jason, you're 100% correct, and I'm gonna throw this rock out. And they say when you throw a rock, the person that got hit by it's the one that's guilty. So I think I may have to holler guilty at first. What happened to the Democratic Party for the state of Maryland not supporting us and our movement with this HBCU issue? Yes, Democratic Party for the state of Maryland, I'm calling you out. Why did you not, and why have not y'all supported us in this HBCU movement for Morgan, Coppin, and Bowie, and UMES?
But where have they been for Jealous? Oh, you got Oprah going down to Georgia. Obama going down to Georgia for Stacey. I did it. Adams. She's running for governor, but not a word here. Obama came out for Jealous.
Well, the institution here is one of the sellout institutions. Doc is correct. We've had a history of sellout Democrats.
But I'm going to tell you what, though. I read someone posted, and it made sense to me. They decided who they were going to target. They didn't think that Jealous could win Maryland. See, they didn't put money up because everybody didn't think could do it. What would happen if we showed them sons of sea cooks that we don't need them to determine who our leaders are? What if we elect Ben Jealous? I'm going to read this.
As independent thinkers.
As independent thinkers. If math says it all, this is from the Baltimore Sun, on how many Democrats vote for Hogan. Everly said if more than 25% of Democrats vote for Hogan, he wins. 25%. This is about whether Giles can convince Democrats to vote for the Democrat. With Donald Trump's actions, that's got to be his message in the final days. He's got to keep Hogan from getting 20 to 30% of the African American vote and remind those moderate Democrats to come and vote. Now, that's just it right there.
Patrick, he wouldn't have won the first election if it wasn't for the fact that we were so divided because of Brown and that O'Malley factor.
Oh, I understand, but we did.
Also, this last election, if it wasn't, the plan was for the gentleman coming out of PG County, Baker.
Yeah,
he was the chosen one to run against Hogan because it was in the eyes of the Democratic Central Committee that he would have a better chance than Jealous to beat him.
Tell me this, you all. I see you, G, Robert, and I see you, David. Is there, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm going to posit it anyway. I contend that Marylanders eat too many crabs. And I call it
crabs in the barrel.
I call it the revenge of the crab, crabs, right?
It's a sci-fi movie.
The revenge of the crabs, and it's now in the DNA. Because I'm looking at all of these supposedly educated leaders and people on high places in the city locally who are against Jealous. Yale graduate. head of the NAACP, an investment banker who not invest for money, but to help people who have ideas that need money to back them. But for $15 minimum wage, ready for Medicare for all, and they won't vote for him. They don't think that he should be. What is that? What is that?
It's called the House Negro Syndrome.
I call it the slave
syndrome.
The club, gentlemen. You got to remember.
They are
part of the club.
They're used to being bought and paid for, many of these people. That was the initiative from the Hogan campaign on these clergy.
All right, I got to go. Oh, Robert, you got a question or comment? We got to go quickly. I'm sorry. You have a question?
Question and comment. Only, you got some big issue up your borderlands. One of the issues that's still laying out there, and I don't think it's over with, and that's concerning the $2 million that Ms. Cruz put up. And that coupled with the $500 million that they let Under Armour get. That's the undermining of our society right there.
Wait a minute. What's the $2 million you talk about for the squeegee boys?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
No, that's a slap in the face, because she should have had that $2 million back in March, not October, and had these kids ready for the summer and getting ready to go to school and all these things that these young youth need. And she should have received the $500 million from Under Armour. No, you're wiping off everything anybody wants to get in terms of empowering our community. With $1 million getting all that damn money.
Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. I asked her about putting water filters on all the schools in town, and she said that she didn't have the money to do it. She couldn't find that. I should talk to Santa Lisa's. But then the mayor went and went with the police department and found $2.6 million to house 6 horses. To take care of 6 horses.
Baltimore Police Mounted Patrol.
Mounted 6 horses, $2.6 million. So you got to ask yourself, what are the priorities? David, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
I want to thank you both. You brothers doing a wonderful show today, and I'm a president and business agent for the transfer workers, and I just wanted to call in, if I could, to let people know we are ATU, and we're giving rides to the polls. And if you real quickly, I can put the number out there. It's 410-889-3567.
Give it to us again.
410-889-3567. I just want to really say that, I'm encouraged to see people are actually going to the polls and all, but people have to understand that, it's not, this is really bigger than what we really think.
Yes, sir.
Because it's the picking of the judges, it can do the redistricting. I mean, this is going to be, it's going to affect us for decades. So we need our family and your listeners to actually get out and vote. But also, real quickly, if I can throw out there, now this is what I was told, that Calvert County is basically calling the election day a holiday.
No bus service.
You think that was like more voter suppression?
No bus service.
Yes, it is voter suppression.
Because you're not giving transportation. Now, I don't know if they're shutting down the whole transportation system, but I know that they're calling it a holiday, and normally on holidays, less people come to work.
Well, let's hope the NAACP and ACLU are listening, because it definitely needs to be looked into. I just want to thank y'all as a retired 42-year union dues paying member. I want to commend the program that y'all have on WLB, the outstanding outreach y'all are doing. It's needed, and it is very much appreciated.
Yeah,
that's David McClure, Amalgamated Transit.
We have to give a disclaimer. That's free rides to the polls, not free rides to Maryland Live or to go do your errands.
I think everybody's got a nice, but at least they're interested. And all we got to say, folks, rain does not stop you from voting. Do not let some rain. Rain is good. It's good for you. Just don't stay out there too long. But don't let the rain tomorrow stop you. And the word tomorrow need to be, have you voted? If you talk to someone, have you voted? If you see someone on the street, have you voted? That needs to be the question.
Yes, and thank you. Yes, go hurry up.
Real quickly, Hogan actually vetoed the sick leave bill. He
did.
Restoring voter rights to the residents that was leaving prison.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he told.
You got to take, and well, we got to go. But he also voted to make sure that if you go to jail, the police take you to jail, and they don't convict you of a crime, they can still keep and take your property from you. Yeah. That should just have everybody just going. Listen, you all. God bless you.
Hey,
tomorrow is an incredible day. We can change the course of Maryland, the state of Maryland, forever by electing Ben Jealous, by going down the line and voting Democrats, because that is the only shield we have against Donald Trump. Listen, thank you, Doc Cheatham.
Great job.
Great job, my great show. So excited about you being with us. And Leo Burrows, as usual, we bless you. And Richard Terry, God bless you, my brother.
Keep fighting, my friend.
And Jason, God bless you.
And I'm trying.
Love you, family. Stay blessed.
Yes, don't forget, you all go and push that level. Remember, we got to vote for Jealous. Hogan cannot get over 15%. We have got to stop him, and we can. Baltimore and PG County, stand up for us. Stand up for the right. Stand up for you. Stand up once and all and for all together. Altruism. One for all and all for one. God bless each and every one of you. Get to them polls tomorrow. Uber is offering free rides too. Don't give up. Keep up. You cannot afford to lose your way. Keep us in the head. Don't let nobody tell you about what we're supposed to do. We know who we are. We know where we've been. All these people selling us out, we rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And we stand on the truth. Fight, my people. We have the weapons in our hands to end this war and to win this battle. God bless each and every one of you.
Power to the people.
Yes, God bless.
Power to the people.
Power to the people and power to you. Your destiny.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore. The new 1010 WOLB with talk in the day and soul at night.
When opioid addiction strikes, lives are lost and families destroyed. Boyd Rutherford's Before It's Too Late campaign responds with urgency. As chair of Governor Hogan's Emergency Task Force, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford balances prevention, treatment, and enforcement to save lives and ease family heartache. Lieutenant Governor Rutherford believes an innovative family-centered approach can help break the cycle of poverty. A graduate of Howard University, Rutherford has balanced a lifetime of experience in the public and private sectors. At a time when some rifts seem unbridgeable, the Hogan-Rutherford team is bringing Maryland together. Working side by side, Boyd Rutherford and Larry Hogan tackle the toughest challenges in our community. Vote Boyd Rutherford. He's a lieutenant governor for all of Maryland. This message has been authorized and paid for by RSLC Matt Walter, President. This message has not been authorized or approved by any candidate.
1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Hello there, and thanks for tuning into this week's show. I'm your host, Chris McKay, and I'm really happy to have you along today as we explore and discover the secrets to health, wealth, and better living. And if you're a longtime listener of the show, welcome back. We appreciate it. And if you're just joining us for the first time, nice to have you along today. I want to start by sending a big thank you out to our sponsor, Dr. Newton's Naturals. They're one of the best sources of high-quality nutritional supplements at discount prices. You can visit them online anytime at drnewtons.com. And I want you to check them out when you have a chance, because they really have some great products to improve your health and the health of your family. Okay, on today's show, we're talking about vitamin D, sometimes referred to as the sunshine vitamin, but folks, here's the problem. Many of us aren't getting enough sunshine lately between slathering on those powerful sunscreens and spending more time indoors, and what it really comes down to is this vitamin D deficiency that's out there is causing an avalanche of health problems for 70% of our population, ranging from pain, loss of balance, muscle weakness, depression, increased blood pressure, arthritis, memory loss, and even a compromised immune system. And I have Dr. Michael Pincus with me today to talk about the most effective way to get vitamin D. Dr. Pincus, it's good to talk to you again.
Chris, it's great to be back. Thank you.
You know, many of you know that Dr. Pincus is a nationally recognized authority on natural and alternative health. He's a successful chiropractor. He's worked with top Hollywood celebrities, professional and Olympic athletes, and he continues to be very involved in some of today's top health concerns concerns. And let's kind of start at the top, Dr. Pincus, and talk a little bit about what are some of the warning signs that you may be deficient in vitamin D?
Okay, well, part of it is how you feel, and one of the things, Chris, is being tired for no apparent reason.
Okay.
But on the reverse side of that, I've seen that a lack of vitamin D affects your sleep. Okay, another big sign is that your bones ache. Now, there's a lot of people listening who've been diagnosed with osteoporosis, which is a thinning of the bone.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a vitamin D deficiency. A big one is muscle weakness. So you try to get up from a couch, you get in and out of a car, and you're finding it more and more difficult. And that's leading to the high prevalence of people falling and injuring themselves.
Ah, okay. All right.
Which is a huge problem.
Right.